So, it's occurred to me a few times that when I start coming out about this cult, especially because obviously, like, people are gonna find stuff about my mom, me talking about my mom and all that. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of deflection and things thrown at me. And I know one of the things is going to be, she's just looking for attention. I don't know, like she wants to be special or something like that. Let me make this very clear. I think maybe you should understand, based on the videos I've come out with so far, at least, that I try to be truthful with myself and realistic. I do. I am not operating under any illusion that this is going to turn out well for me. These people mean business. Other women, other people who have stumbled upon what I've stumbled upon have turned up dead. That I discovered them in my research too, like other people. A woman named Tracy Twyman, who stumbled upon a network which might be related to this one, or its own network, operating also on YouTube, sending veiled messages with symbols and such to each other. She was a well-educated woman, a middle-class American, white suburban mother with a son. She was a historian who specialized in the history of things like symbols, like Baphomet. She wrote a whole book with a guy named Alex Rivera on the Baphomet symbol. The Baphomet symbol is that goat face symbol that you see Satanists use, like Church of Satan uses. She saw it one day too. Her name's Tracy Twyman, TracyTwyman. And she turned up dead. She pursued it. She even interviewed Isaac Cappy. He was that B-lister celebrity that started coming out a few years ago and saying that there was child abuse and rape and child trafficking and child brothels going on in Hollywood, and he was going to blow the lid off of it, and even released a little video clip of little girls in a bathhouse. She was even interviewing him. She was talking about the whole thing in podcasts on YouTube. Don't bother going to her main website anymore. They've been slowly, like, removing her stuff from the internet. It's crazy. She was found dead, hanging in her garage, about a month after Isaac Cappy supposedly forced himself off of a bridge. The people who do what I'm doing don't tend to survive very long. The other ones, like, they typically get scared off from what I've seen. Like, other people who are into this, but, like, who would consider themselves, I guess, as being a part of, like, the truther community, who understand that there are elitist, high-level networks of child rapists, operating at very high levels, because we pay attention. So, like, other people who have been in this community have backed out because of some people either going missing or turning up dead under very suspicious circumstances. Tracy Twyman's death was ruled a suicide. She was found hanging in her garage. If you know anything about how women kill themselves, that is not typical at all. It's not typical. They typically choose the safest feeling surroundings, which is usually in their own bedroom, in their own bed. And they don't typically choose a method that's so violent or has such a possibility of going wrong, because if they don't do it right, they could just strangle to death. They could be painful. So they like non-pain and feel safe when they're doing it. So they will typically, the most common method for a woman to commit suicide, which, by the way, Tracy Twyman had no reason to. None. And you can see her in podcasts and stuff on YouTube still, like in the days and weeks leading up to her death. And she did not look like she was suicidal at all. She looked like and sounded like she was determined to keep taking these people on, like she was being cautious. She had a son, a young son, but women typically, when they decide to commit suicide, lay down in a comfortable place, usually their beds, in their bedrooms, and they typically choose to overdose on some kind of a substance and go to sleep and just not wake up, because it's painless. It's a little, I would say it's probably a little bit less likely that to fail or end in some kind of painful incident than like if you mess up a hanging. It's just not typical. I mean, it's not unheard of, but it's just really not typical at all. For a woman who has other options, and Tracy Twyman had plenty of other options than to hang herself from the rafters of her garage. She, again, middle class, suburban white woman. I mean, I know she even talked in the podcast about, you know, having trouble making ends meet, but she certainly would have been able to find sleeping pills or something along those lines. And again, I don't think she would have done it in her garage. It's so filthy and gross and not personable or safe feeling. That's just not how women are. That's just not how women are. That woman, I'm pretty sure, was murdered or forced to kill herself because she really thought that likely that if they did something to threaten her son and she really thought that her son was in danger if she didn't kill herself, that's the only way I could conceive that she would have actually, you know, like actually put the rope around her neck herself. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure she was murdered. And honestly, the other way is murder too. Like, it really is. When you're forcing a parent to choose between their child's safety or killing themselves, that's murder. You might as well just be murdering them. You putting a gun to their heads and pulling the trigger. People who do what I do don't tend to fare well. People do what I'm doing. And here's another thing you should consider. And again, I wanted to be a mom. I just wanted a regular life. I just wanted a husband and like a couple kids and a decent little house. I don't need attention. I don't need attention. I just needed a regular little life. That's all I expected. I didn't think that was too much to ask. And it's like all of life has decided, nope, you're not allowed to do that. Nope, you're gonna have a dead daughter and be abandoned by a dude you thought you're gonna grow old with, and then you're going to stumble upon a pedophile network and feel like you can't do anything other than expose them, because what kind of a person are you if you walk away and pretend you didn't see anything? And now you're probably gonna get killed. So something about their concepts, the beliefs, the belief system, I've been noticing working out a pattern. Remember the mother of light. And remember how and she's still, sometimes it's symbolized with like a corpse, a woman's corpse, like a dead woman. Sometimes she symbolizes like a big lumbering dumb cow that you just, all of life suckles milk off of. But there is this concept, idea, story that is repeated, has been repeated for thousands of years, has survived in human belief systems. And I'm going to give you some examples of it. Of this source, or beginning at least, like one of the first goddess deities, or a source deity, but it's typically a female, it's typically a goddess, mother. If there's one example where it's like a male. A source deity being chopped up into pieces, cut up into pieces to like create a new world, to nourish a new world. Think of it as like a mother insect laying down and dying to feed her babies. Like mother praying mantises, they just, once the babies are born, the mom's there to basically let herself be eaten. That's what happens so that the babies can survive. So this concept is seen in, for example, ancient Sumer. Ancient Sumer, we're talking 6,000 years ago. Tiamat, I believe it was Tiamat, was an ancient goddess in their belief system who was cut up into pieces. And then there's, in ancient Egypt, the one example of the male, who is a source god, deity, cut up into pieces, Osiris. There are other examples of this that are now escaping me in belief systems, but there are a lot out there. This idea of a source goddess, a mother goddess. It's typically a mother goddess. Being parceled off into pieces, dismembered, and used to start some kind of new world, kick off some kind of new world or new life. You also see an example of this in a movie that I highly suspect was directed and or also written by people who were probably a part of this cult. The movie is called The Cell. The Cell, it had Jennifer Lopez in it. And the story is like there's this psycho serial killer and he goes around kidnapping women. And when he kidnaps a woman, he'll put her in a little tank. It's like a little room that's a glass fish tank. And it slowly fills up with water until she drowns. And that's how he kills them. And then he does weird stuff with the bodies afterwards. So the story in the movie, it's actually a pretty good movie. I like it. Like the scenes they create in it are, whoa. And I will be doing probably a whole video picking apart a lot of the stuff in that movie. Because they make references to Shiva and the devil all over the place. Anyway, lots of stuff. And Trinunos. These are all aspects of the devil, like in different belief systems. So, they also make reference to this idea of a mother source goddess being dismembered into pieces. So what happens is the cops are hot on the tail of this serial killer guy, and he's just kidnapped another girl and put her into the tank, and then they catch him. But the tank's not where he lives. It's it's like an isolated location. They don't know where it is. So they find where he lives though, and they go catch him, but he's got some weird disorder, like some weird, I believe it was some weird form of schizophrenia, something that caused him to lapse into a coma that he would never wake up from. So it's a sci-fi movie. Like what they did, there was a method that they used, which as far as I know doesn't exist in real life. It existed in the movie. They had a method for jumping into people's minds, and it was being used in the movie at the time to like in a therapeutic manner for kids and stuff. It was experimental type thing for kids in comas and stuff to try to see if they could bring people out of comas. So they figured if they could jump in this dude's mind and have a look around, they could figure out where he was keeping this girl in reality, in real life, and then go save her before she freaking would drown to death. So that's what they do in the movie. Jennifer Lopez and this other guy, I forget what his name is, the detective, and then the kind of a nurse counselor lady who does the actual mind jumping. they both jump into this guy's mind, Psycho's mind. And the stuff they see there, the world in there is frickin' cray-cray. You should totally see this movie just for the world they created in this guy's mind. It was impressive for the movie, you know? In that crazy world, one of the things they saw was a horse standing still in a room. And there was a clock on the wall, and it was just ticking away. And then once it kind of did one turn around, it stopped, like an alarm sort of went off, and then the hand quickly went backwards around the clock face until it got back pointing to 12 again, pointing up again. And then suddenly it was a gruesome scene. All of these almost like panes of glass, window panes of glass, drop from the ceiling directly down onto the horse and split it into pieces. And then those panes of glass kind of split up and make it so that you can like walk in between the pieces of the horse and like see the inside. Horses, why that horse is a symbol for the great mother goddess, because first of all, horses have notoriously for a long time now been used to symbolize the slave labor class. It's used in coats of arms, royalty coat of arms. It's typically under like the crown. Yeah, that symbolize, if you're like a bus driver or a mailman delivery person in Great Britain, let's say, go look at the coat of arms for royalty. You see like the unicorn. The unicorns could be like another version of the horse. It's also, the unicorn actually has, we're going to get into breaking down some coat of arms, royalty coat of arms, and what it means. Unicorns. But like, if you've ever seen something with like a horse on, you know, some royal badge, and there's a crown above it, the crown is them, and you're the workhorse. They are over you. Horses are beasts of burden. Females are the beasts of burden for their species. We just are. Even if you had males doing like their utmost, if you just step back and take in accounting what the females have to do for the species and what the males have to do, the females have to do more. They bear more burden, and that's that. In every species, just about every species, the females typically bear more of the burden of the work just by virtue of growing offspring in them, birthing it out of them, raising it, and quite often nourishing it from our bodies. And then a lot of times we have to do the male's work too. And they can't even do all the work I just mentioned we can do. So females, for almost every species, is kind of the beast of burden for their species. We carry the most weight. So, and I've been tracing this idea of this connection between horses and women and slavery, and you know, like lesser classes of people. I've been tracing it all the way back to the first Aryan civilizations in the European steppes, which is right around the Black Sea. But it also spanned all the way over to Western India. It's very important, and I'm going to make other videos about this. You need to understand this if you don't. Aryan is not a race, it's a culture. Okay? Because when the Aryan civilizations were around, like the first ones that I know of from history, it was the same folklore and the same language being shared by peoples of like Caucasian descent around the European steppes, around the Black Sea, but it spanned all the way over to Western India, where people had darker skin tone, but they had the same language, roughly the same. There might have been a difference, like the way there's a difference between American English and British English. Like same root language, same basic folklore, same basic beliefs and rituals and traditions and such, shared by peoples of two different skin colors. At the same time, Aryan is a culture. It's not a race. I don't know what Hitler was doing. He's an idiot. Also, like, it's just so much, like, the whole thing about he was going to rebuild the Aryan race by wiping out Jewish people. Well, depending on whether you think Jewish people and Hebrew people are the same, it's like that's like just another branch of the Aryan culture, actually. I don't know what he thought he was doing. I'm gonna rebuild the Aryan race. It's not a race, first of all, by wiping out a whole branch of it. By the way, yeah, they say that Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language. No, it's effing not, because I can trace that shit back myself. You can trace it back to Phoenician, which can be traced back to Egyptian hieroglyphics, which can be traced back to some of the first Aryan civilizations in Proto-Indo-European. It's non-Afro-Asiatic language unless you're not tracing it any farther back than the Egyptian hieroglyphics. And it goes farther back than that. The Egyptians, well, the ruling class from back in the day of the pharaohs, dynasties, they were likely different than the people they ruled over, and they likely came from the steppes. Like they were of different lineage and descent, which is probably how Hitler got the stupid idea in his head that Aryan peoples were meant to rule. No, maybe they're just assholes who thought that they were meant to rule, because you see it written in places. Like when you're researching any of this stuff, like there are writings that have survived from like pharaohs and such, and you see it referenced here and there, like we rule over the dark-headed peoples, and it's like, so it might, and I don't think that necessarily means dark-headed like hair. I just think Hitler's an idiot. Was an idiot. But yeah, so, and because it also looks like the pharaohs, the ancient Egyptian pharaohs, were red-headed, Caucasian. But the people they like ruled over back then were not. They were dark-haired. So it does look like they probably came from, I mean, I don't know all this for sure, but again, lots of research. It does look like they probably came from the European steppes. And now I've gone down a huge freaking tangent that I almost can't get back from. Oh yeah, so the horses have been equated with women and death and slave labor class for thousands of years. And I've also been working out that your language is kind of like a virus. First, well, I'll get into that with another video. This is meant to be more of like, it's already 22 minutes. It's meant to be more of like a, listen, dudes, I'm not doing this for attention. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be dismembered. Really, I'm not even kidding. I try not to think about it too much. But I'm pretty freaking sure, like if they ever get their hands on me, and these people are not stupid and they're not poor like me. They have money. They're well educated. It is what it is. So when you see this idea being spread in their belief system that suggests that these good mothers, or the good mother, the mother, or something like that, is supposed to be dismembered and like feasted on, and they already do sick rituals like raping children. What do you think I have in store for me, guys? I mean, I don't want it to be that, but I have to be realistic with myself. I never would have gotten here to begin with, even being able to understand or see what they were doing, if I wasn't the kind of person who didn't try to be realistic with myself. These people mean business. They're not playing around, okay? They're not. They don't like me. They're not going to like me doing what I'm doing, trying to get them thrown in prison cells. And if they perceive that I'm special in some way, I really don't think that'll end well for me. Either way, I don't think it's going to end well for me. So, before you say any stupid shit like that, like she's just looking for attention, you can go fuck yourself. You have no fucking clue what's going on here, man. Maybe you need to fucking pay attention. Okay? I got millionaires and billionaires on my list of suspects, and I'm living in a fucking RV with a heinous monster mother who is literally acting against me actively because I'm not doing what she wants and being a good little artist. Which, by the way, most of these people on my list of suspects are artists of some sort. Writers, musicians, content creators, celebrity actors, actresses, directors, producers, like media creators. Do you not think they use that media to, first of all, send messages to one another and also to reframe the way you look at life and confuse you maybe a little, mess up your priorities, maybe make you accept child abuse and child rape as being okay? And they're not going to do it all at once overnight. They're going to do it slow, carefully. Break down your boundaries and your priorities and your morals and your ethics. Think about what was considered appropriate dress for ladies when our grandmothers were our age. And now think about what girls be walking around wearing these days. They would have been spat upon and called whores by like every mother in the streets of their town if our grandmothers were wearing what the girls are wearing today. That's only 2 generations. So much change in only 2 generations. Girls walking around acting like they're whores. What do you think is causing it? If you don't realize that so much of it is all this media you keep consuming all day long and letting your kids consume all day long, then you are an idiot and you're not paying attention. Like I said, so like one of the suspects on my list has a degree in neuro-linguistic programming. Another suspect has a degree in psychology. These are not stupid people. They know how your mind works better than you do. And they're using it against you. There are groups of pedophiles that have lobbying groups that try to lobby governments to abolish the age of consent. They will never stop trying. You don't get to take a vacation. They aren't taking a vacation from trying to figure out how to rape your children. Why do you think you get to go fucking party and have fun? Why do you think you should just work until you can go have Mai Tais on the beach and not think about anything else? But you're adults. Oh, and you're good parents. You don't know anything about how pedophiles operate in here or out in the world to catch your children, to rape them right under your nose, like funding and opening, sponsoring child daycares. How are you going to know if your 2-year-old who you drop off there for hours a day is being raped? And how would they know, for that matter? Or being used in child pornography in the back room? You wouldn't fucking know because you trust daddy. I trust everyone's my friend. Nobody's looking to try and rape my kid behind my back. Feed them a little Ambien at snack time. That's all it takes. They'll be out for an hour or 2. They'll wake up. They won't even know what happened to them. And all because you're a piece of shit parent walking around thinking that you're a good person and mature because you pay bills. You don't fucking know anything about one of the biggest threats to your own children. You are not a mature guardian and you should not be taking care of kids. Most of you know more about American Idol than you do about one of the biggest threats to your own kids. It's shameful and pathetic. It's disgusting. It's insulting to real adults who take responsibility for what we know and what we don't know. who don't dare call ourselves mature guardians to children if we have not made ourselves aware of the dangers to children. One of the biggest dangers to children after their own parents, that's the number one biggest threat to a child, is their own parents, actually. Keep that in mind, you dumb shits. Second to that, child rapists, pedophiles looking to have sex with your kids. But most of you don't know anything about them, how they think, how they operate, what made them. Nothing. You don't know a damn fucking thing, and you're walking around living fantasy world telling yourselves you're mature adults and good parents. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting. And then you have the audacity to come tell me that I'm a loser and I need to grow up because I'm living in an RV and it's hard for me to find or maintain work with a disabled back. Go fuck yourselves. I'm probably going to get brutally murdered at the end of all this. I don't know exactly when. I'm hoping I get most of this information out before they make some kind of move like that. Honestly, for the last almost 2 years now, I've been waiting for the bullet and just waking up every morning going, oh, damn, I'm still alive. Oh, damn. Wow, they didn't come assassinate me in my sleep. Or pay someone else. They don't get their hands dirty. They're pussies. They're little baby boys. They would pay someone to do the dirty work for them, or at least kidnap me and bring me somewhere where they won't risk getting into trouble. They don't do dirty work. They're on their own because they're little baby boys. They find patsies to do it for them, or psychos who have no money and will do anything for money. That's the buffer they create between themselves and the dirty work that they want done in the world. Why do you think they amass so much money? Money solves a lot of problems, unfortunately. Gets a lot of stuff done. And it can provide excellent buffers between, if you're a bad guy and you want to achieve getting bad stuff done, but you don't want to get caught, money can provide an excellent buffer between you and the dirty work being done for you. So yeah, I'm probably gonna be dead at the end of all this. I mean, we're all gonna be dead at the end of all this, at the end, but like, I'm not going to get what I want. I'm not going to get to be a mother. I mean, I'm a mother, but my daughter's not alive. So I'm not going to get the special moments holding my daughter and singing to her and feeding her, watching my kids grow up. Or I'm not going to get that. You understand? That was what I wanted, not attention. Okay? So go fuck yourselves. Don't you dare fucking suggest that. So, and all day I've just been here in this lot trying to figure out what the fuck to do. Yeah, like, I don't know, 30 bucks to my name now. After getting some gas with the money I made from selling my records. And it's not even a quarter tank worth of gas. It's just enough to, you know, like, run the generator so I could put the slide out and sleep in the bed. So, yeah, so I'm kind of stuck in this lot, so I figure out what I'm doing next. I guess, like, you know, this is the perfect opportunity. It's a lot of times it's been the perfect opportunity for them to just fucking come get me. And they are keeping tabs on me. I'm going to be releasing some videos about the first suspect I identified. And I sent him a couple of anonymous emails that kind of was like poking the bear, hoping, because these dudes get caught with their own arrogance all the time. Like Dennis Rader got caught with his own arrogance. Look into Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. idiot fucking couldn't handle the police thinking they caught the BTK killer, but it wasn't him. So they were attributing his murders to some other dude. And that bruised his ego. So he sent the cops letters going like, you didn't catch the BTK killer, I'm the BTK killer. And they traced the letters and caught him. These guys actually get themselves caught with their own arrogance pretty often. Like, by these guys, I mean, like, you know, psychopathic rapists and murderers and sociopaths and such. They're very, very arrogant, and it gets them caught a lot. So, yeah. So some of the stuff, after contacting my one teacher who is a suspect on my list, I realized he told a bunch of them. I didn't know he was a suspect until he started acting weird when I contacted him. He's one of the few people I'd ever met in my life that knew anything about, like, a lot about occult stuff and was even willing to, like, think about it or talk about it. That's why, like, I felt such a connection to him when I was in school, because I was always like the weirdo who liked weird stuff, and he was a weirdo too. He liked weird stuff too, so we'd talk about occult stuff. So, and I haven't found many people like that in my lifetime. So I was like, he might know a bunch. He might know stuff that I don't know yet, that I'm missing on some of these symbols and whatever. And plus, I'd already identified another student from that school, and after that I was like, I need to contact Maxwell. That's his last name. I realized after the way he was reacting to my contacting him with some of the basic stuff that I had uncovered, like a bunch of people suddenly going to my portfolio website from very suspicious locations and settling on the one page that had pictures of all these little kids. I since took that block of photos down, but yeah. I'll get into that. There's gonna be more videos about that stuff. Like, they're each gonna get their own, at least one video dedicated to them, each of the suspects. So he told them about me. He's part of the group, and he told the rest of them about me. Suddenly all these people were going to my website right after I contacted him, and almost no one goes to my portfolio website. It's a random artist portfolio website that had been up for 10 years, like barely any traffic going there ever. But I have Google Analytics, and right after I contacted him, suddenly all these people are going to my site, and they're looking at pictures of the little kids from, like, museums. This museum I used to volunteer at. And some of the pictures were like my nieces and nephews and younger cousins, all like over 10 years old. Like, these kids aren't little kids anymore, but it creeped me out. I took those pictures down. And then the second page that they were going to the most of my site was the contacts page, which had a picture of me, which I took down too. They know about me. And then the first suspect that I've been goading, you know, with like the anonymous emails, he's made it clear. He knows I'm not anonymous. He knows who I am, and they're keeping tabs on me. Okay? My mom knows all this. I've been telling her about it. She knows it's for real and it's serious, and she doesn't care. I won't do what she wants. She doesn't care. Hey guys, why don't you fucking go dismember her? She deserves it. I've suffered enough thanks to that fucking cow, okay? I'm just doing the right thing to do. And don't you fucking blame me. You guys put your fucking shit out in public where it could be seen. You're the idiots. You were too arrogant to think you'd ever be caught. Well, this is your own fucking fault. Don't you blame me for seeing you and trying to get you exposed, assholes. Because you know that's how, they're babies. It's her fault. It's her fault for catching us. How about it's your fault for fucking putting it out everywhere, what you're doing? You just thought no one would know. No one would see you. You thought everyone was stupid but you. within you. I suspect this group figures that, like the rest of the herd, will never see what they're doing because you're all too stupid. And if you're smart enough, then you're one of them. If you're smart enough and you know the symbols and you know what it means, then you're one of them. You know, you're a baby raper, so you don't care anyway. Like, you either, if you know, then you're one of them, and if you don't know, if you're not one of them, you probably don't know. I'm like the little outlier who's not one of them, but just happens to have my whole life, like, has just come to, you know, my academic interest in occult stuff, my formal education in visual arts and breaking down symbols for their layered meanings, and some formal education and my own personal education in psychology. Like, it all just added up to me seeing what they're doing. I guess they just never thought that would happen. There would be one little outlier somewhere that would go like, that would be smart enough and have the background to be able to see what they're doing, but also be like, I'm not on your side, and I'm also not scared enough to ignore this. Because be sure, other people, I'm not the only outlier, you know, like again, Tracy Twyman, other people out there have seen them, and if they pursue it, they typically turn up dead, and the others just go, you know what, never mind, and back off. They back out. Almost none of us are seeing them to begin with. Most of you are sitting around watching American Idol. And then those of us who are seeing them are like either turning up dead, or a bunch of them don't even have the courage to pursue it. You're the cow. I don't want to hear one fucking thing from any of you saying she wants attention or blah, blah, blah. You're cowards. And all you do is sit around watching YouTube videos and television shit all day. You don't do anything for real. Nothing. So you just keep telling yourselves fantasies. Oh, and keep telling me to grow up. Get over my mother's abuse, who's literally still abusing me right now while she knows I'm juggling trying to expose a network of pedophiles who are literally fucking keeping tabs on me and will likely kill me. She knows it. I have seen it on her face. She understands that this is for real. She doesn't care. She just wants to go, no, make it all go away. I want to go back to my fantasies. I guess she's just going to have to die. I'm cutting her loose. I can't deal with her anymore. She won't just be what I want her to be. I can't. I've done enough for her. Go fuck yourself, you selfish cunt. She has straight up almost practically said the words. Like, she doesn't care about kids being raped. She doesn't care. What's she getting for caring about that? Nothing. So why bother? She doesn't care. She doesn't want me to do any of this, because what's she getting for it? This doesn't fit into her fantasy of me being an artist, and she gets to just brag to everyone in Cape May Island about her talented artist. No. The eventuality of what I'm doing is I'm going to shout from the rooftops and point at these people, and who knows if I'll get anything accomplished doing that, and then likely end up dead. That is not, I mean, I would be very proud of my daughter if she risked her life to save children from being raped and tortured to death. I wouldn't want her to die, but I would be very proud of her. And I wouldn't be like, no, you need to stop this. It doesn't fit my fantasy. So, those of you who are like sticking up for her, like all these fucking assholes are like commenting, which again, a lot of them, I'm going to make a special video for the commenters, because I suspect most of you are paid trolls. And you're either being paid by the cult of child rapists I'm trying to expose, or by the police that I'm belittling and saying should be getting fired, or by my abusive mother or family members. So which of those three groups are you working for, you little pussies? Are you aware? If you're a paid troll who's been paid to troll my channel, are you aware that there is a network of pedophiles who want me silenced before I even start talking about them? Are you aware that's the work you're doing? Are you aware that you're helping baby rapers for a paycheck? You maybe should think about becoming a cop. So I'm gonna leave it there because it's 45 minutes already. This was supposed to be short. Oh, sorry. Good night. I might make another one tonight, actually, about something else. Good night.